So dividend and income investing is a pretty big topic on this channel, and I'm personally a big fan of it. And on multiple occasions, I have called Schd probably one of the best dividend ETFs on the market. Over the past 5 years, it's up over 107%, and over the past 1 year, 27, almost 28%. And this is supposed to be an ETF full of boring, large, slow-growing companies, but yet it's performing extremely well. For comparison's sake, VYM by Vanguard is another very high-quality dividend ETF, but even so, the difference in performance is immense. The past 1 year has been closer, but even here, Schd has done better. And to understand why there's this difference, let's quickly read how these ETFs work. So for Schd, they only include firms with a 10-year history of paying dividends. And on top of that, Schd uses fundamental screens, cash flow to debt ratio, return on equity, dividend yield, and dividend growth rate. The objective is to focus on quality companies with substantial dividends. Now, VYM, on the other hand, operates pretty differently, and this takes more of a broad approach. The fund's broad market stems partly from its comparatively lax dividend screens. Firms are ranked by forecast dividends over the next 12 months. Those in the top half are selected. Stocks that make the cut are weighted by market cap rather than dividends. So VYM is still a fantastic ETF and uses more of a broad market approach, and in the future it might prove to be more effective. But so far, the more detailed approach of Schd, looking at things like return on equity, cash flow to debt, have proven to be more effective. And this is where a relatively new ETF comes into play that I think is on par with Schd. It's called Qdiv by Global X, and it has a similar approach to Schd with a few key differences. So Qdiv aims to provide exposure to quality stocks that generate high dividend yields. The underlying index scores the constituents of the S&P 500 index for both quality, which includes things like return on equity, low accruals, and low financial leverage, as well as high income potential. Stocks that rank in the top 200 for both metrics are chosen for inclusion, such that the final portfolio consists of between 50 and 200 stocks. The inception date is only July of 2018, expense ratio is 0.2%, and currently it has 75 holdings. And taking a side-by-side price performance view of both Schd and Qdiv over the past 12 months, they're almost identical. Unfortunately, we can't zoom out too far due to the young age of this ETF, but generally you can see that it does perform in line with Schd. And if we add in VYM just for comparison's sake, over the past 12 months, it's up 21.8%, which is very respectable, but still not the same level as Schd and Qdiv, which utilize a different, more focused approach in the construction of their funds. Something I want to point out is that Qdiv is produced by Global X, which is one of my favorite producers of ETFs at the moment, which is kind of a weird thing to even say. But this is the company that created funds like QYLD, QCLR, which is a NASDAQ 100 collar strategy, as well as XRMI, which is a risk-managed income ETF. And I'm a big fan of all of these. And something a lot of you guys might appreciate about Qdiv versus Schd is that these dividend payments are paid out on a monthly basis. And the dividend itself on Qdiv is around 2.5% at the current moment, which is slightly less than Schd, which is sitting at about 2.8%. And taking a look at their actual holdings, Qdiv and Schd have a 27% overlap, and 40% of Qdiv's holdings are within Schd. And at a glance, here are the major differences between the two ETFs. If you want, you can pause the video and take a solid look. So Qdiv does have lots of familiar blue chip names: Pfizer, Public Storage, Kraft Heinz, Coca-Cola, Cisco, Procter & Gamble. As I scroll through this, I don't see any major red flags in terms of the equities that they selected for. And finally, if it's any consolation, on etf.com, Qdiv has the same top 20% badge as Schd. So I have to say, on the surface, it looks like Qdiv is a fantastic competitor to Schd. As we saw, over the past 12 months, their price performance has been almost identical at a very impressive 24% each. They have a 27% overlap, and their dividend yields are very similar. The biggest difference is that Qdiv pays out that dividend on a monthly basis rather than quarterly. There's no definitive answer as to which ETF is better, so definitely leave a comment down below and let us all know which one you think is better. Of course, Schd has a much longer track record, and Qdiv is the comparative new kid on the block. But on the other hand, monthly dividend payments are very nice. That's going to be the end of the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did and you're still watching, definitely give the video a like, subscribe to the channel. Helps me out a lot and it's greatly appreciated. But regardless, I'll see you guys in the next one.